Hello and welcome to a special episode of Insert Coin. I'm Tim.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're playing one of my favourite games, Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, this is going to be awesome.
Now this would be my upteenth playthrough, but first playthrough for Chris.
Yeah, this is my first. I played the original back in a billion years ago, and I only got halfway through Midgar, and I didn't understand the perspective or anything. I was only a kid.
Which is, I think, evident when there's some scenes you're running around, running into walls and things. But enough of that. So here we are at the start of the game. This is a really good intro, I think, to the beginning of the game. It's the graphics at the time this was released, I think, were very impressive as well. For the time, obviously.
Yeah, the cinematics were really good.
I think this is just the storyline and the settings and the characters is what makes this game one of the best Final Fantasies, I think. And they've obviously made lots of remakes of it. And there's the big shot of Midgar. There's quite a few places you never actually go to in Midgar. Actually, you only really ever go to like sector 7 and 8, don't you? I wonder if there'd be times you can go in sector 1 and 2. Yeah, 1997. So not quite a billion years ago. But,
Well, it feels like a billion years.
I can remember when I first played this game. Actually, I had loads of problems because I had like a duff memory card, and every now and then, like, I'd go to load the game and it wouldn't load. It'd say corrupt file.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I got as far as the Shinra mansion like 4 or 5 times before I had to go and buy a new memory card.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, that's not working. So I was like, I'll have to buy a new one.
Damn.
Now, the good thing about this game, I find, is you start off right in the middle of a mission. There's no sort of like tedious intro as to how to play. It just throws you in the deep end,
Yeah,
and then it goes through the how to play bit after the mission. I think generally when you get a new game, the first thing you want to do is just to have a quick go, don't you? Really, just like figure out the controls,
Yeah, that's what it's like.
have a little play on it, and this game sort of caters to that, gets you to play for a little while, and then once you've played a bit, it then sort of takes a step back and explains how to play, explains how to do all the battles and so on. Now, speaking of battles, what we've done in this playthrough is we've actually cut through the battles. If you want to see any of the boss sequences, we've got some separate boss battle playthroughs. So these videos are just going to be a bit of a guide as to where to go and what to do, but mainly just like a playthrough of the game.
And just have fun. Relive all the scenes.
We do have a couple of other videos for actual guides. So there's a limit break guide, enemy skill guide, and a chocobo breeding guide. If you want to check those out on the main YouTube channel.
I'd recommend the Chocolate Breeding Guide. It's pretty devastating.
So at this point of the game, you get to name your character, and we've named him Zack. For people who are familiar with the game, you will know that there will be some confusion over that later. But this is Jesse, Biggs and Wedge, part of Avalanche, the rebel force that are trying to fight the Shinra. So the Shinra are a energy company that are using Mako energy to power, sort of as a form of electricity, essentially. But as you learn throughout the game, Mako energy is kind of like the life force of the planet, isn't it? So it's also what is used for all your magic and battles, and it's a very sort of big point of the game.
Yeah.
And that's him telling you how to. We've named this character Dine. He's a man with a gun for an arm. Again, if you played the game before, you may notice later on in the game that will cause some confusion as well. Obviously, for Chris at this point, you didn't know why I was calling these characters. He was like, "Oh, I want to call this guy Dine." You're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Why?
I was a bit confused. I still am kind of confused.
I think the first few times I played through, I just kept the original character names.
Yeah.
Because they all do have like cool names, and normally I would, but for the sake of this playthrough, we'll have a bit of fun, mess around with the names a bit. So this is one of the Mako reactors. I know what you mean about the perspective, though. It is a bit confusing to know what the different levels are, because it's always just like a fixed screen that you run around in from different camera angles and stuff. You don't control the camera. Sometimes it's hard to tell where you actually stand in it.
Yeah, like that. A couple of rooms ago, there was a bit of building that was just like in the way. I thought, oh, I can't get through there, but it was just the roof of the previous ones.
So here's Dine sort of explaining that Shinra is sort of sucking the life out of the planet.
Yeah.
You're just doing it for the money.
So he just kind of like sucked up.
Yeah, that's kind of how it represents him joining your party, I think. So. Actually, in Final Fantasy VIII, the characters actually walk behind you.
Oh.
It's like a trail of like 3 people running, or people following you. I don't think it looks that good. I think it looks fine, like just absorbing it into one person. Yeah. It's a bit weird, but it is just a game after all. It doesn't have to make sense.
Kind of feel like you're a human Kirby.
Yeah. Well, in Final Fantasy X, you never did like the whole absorbing into people thing.
Oh, really?
It was just there was loads of cutscenes. All the bits where people stood around talking.
Yeah.
All of those were like full cutscenes, which in a way was good, but in another way it just made you realise how much the game was broken up with just cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. And like, wow, can we actually play the game a bit now? And with that, after a cutscene, it would obviously fade out and fade back into the game. At which point, you would just be the main character on his own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with the renaming in that game, you couldn't rename anyone other than the main character.
Oh, really?
Because of the voiceovers, because they referred to each other by their first name and so on.
Okay.
But I kind of thought it was a bit silly that they didn't just make the name character was called Tidus. I don't know why they just didn't make it that Tidus was called Tidus and they'd say his name as well.
Yeah.
Because then if you could change his name to whatever you wanted, and then the characters referred to you as like you and him and the Blitzball star and things like that, and they would never actually say his name. It's
like title cards.
Yeah, it's just like you'd never say his actual name. So because of that, I thought, well, you might as well have just named him Tidus. Yeah. But obviously in this game you can rename everybody.
Huh? Where did you come from?
I think this sort of initial launch in the game, there's obviously lots of different plot lines in the game that sort of interlink and overlap. But I think one of my favourites is the battle against Shinra. Because it's like the first thing you're dealing with in the game. It just sort of runs throughout. You've got this like big corporation that's sort of in control of everything. And it's like that they are essentially like a government to themselves, aren't they? They're an energy company, but they've got their own military, and there's no real opposing forces, is there?
No, it's just kind of
it's literally they're just dominating the whole of Midgar and have influence in all the other towns as well. Of course, there is Crisis Core, the Final Fantasy VII prequel, where you play as Zack. Not this Zack, the other Zack.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
And in that, it's the war against Watai. So you have like there's another military force there you're fighting, but this game takes place after all of that's been resolved. Because there will be talk in the game of like there being a war at some point. Saying, my chances to be a hero ended when the war ended. So that war is featured in Crisis Core.
So was it just like a war against loads of ninjas?
Pretty much, yeah.
Fair enough. I'd be a bit anxious about having ninjas around.
I think the perspective bit is a bit tricky here, isn't it? Got an item there, Chinese.
Hey. Can I just, yeah, okay.
I do like the looks of these reactors, they look pretty cool.
Yeah, there's no... I mean, yeah, obviously every section's different, like in the game, like every room is different, but I like the looks of these. I think it captures the reactor feel very well. Like how deep it is as well, gone down loads.
There's the first save point in the game.
Awesome. Are save points the only place you can... Yeah, this is me after completing the game, still don't know. Can you also change your party?
Yes,
save points?
at the save point, yeah.
Okay, so it's outside and save points.
Yeah. Okay, first piece of materia.
Yeah.
So you don't have the option to actually equip anything at the moment. That's all sort of greyed out until you've gone through the beginner's hall. Who's going to set this bar? So lots of this for you now, Chris, will make a lot more sense. The guy's wigging out. You think, oh, why does it watch out? This isn't just a reactor. What on earth is that about? Zach does have the occasional wig out moment in the game where he has sort of weird memories and confusion over what's going on. Which will all be revealed later. And this is the first boss battle.
Heads up, here they come.
And once you've defeated the boss, you just have to get out of there. Run. Now you have 10 minutes to destination, and it's actually plenty of time. You would find it hard to not get out in time, I think. And in fact, I think once I deliberately stuck around for 10 minutes just to see what happened.
Oh really?
To see if there was like another cutscene where the thing blew up with you inside or something, but it just faded to black. I went to the game over screen and was
Oh man.
So that was a waste of 10 minutes. But yeah, 10 minutes is ample time to get out.
So when you did it, you just sat there waiting?
Yeah, just wait around until it got, and then it just faded to black. Now this bit, you do actually need to go back for Jessie, because Jessie has one of the codes for the doors, and she has her foot stuck. So if you get to the doors and she's not there, you have to run back and get her.
Oh.
So you have to make sure you pick her up at that point. The tense hurry music playing.
I think this is me playing currently. I think when we started it, you're like, you've hardly played this, here you go, get used to it. Okay.
That annoys me as well actually every now and then if you're running in and out of rooms, because the camera angle's changed, up then becomes down, and you run in and out of the room back and forth over and over again. There's a few places in the game where like you go out of a room or go out of a cave or something, and then you're outside, and then because you still got your button in the same direction, you run back inside again straight away.
Yeah. I found that loads in Devil May Cry, in like every single game. Like you run in and out of doors like for 2 minutes, just going. Ah.
And you see we're pretty much near the entrance, and we've not even gone through half the time.
No, where's Biggs?
Is there?
Okay, where's the fat one, Wedge?
Oh yeah, that's Wedge.
Why
He waits outside. Didn't he? He covers the other exit. Well, this is good as well, like being part of a rebel force, beginning of the game, freedom fighters fighting for the planet,
Oh, there.
that sort of thing. Yeah, he waits by the exit. It's quite a good little intro. Jesse was getting stuck.
Whoa.
It's blowing up. That was a huge explosion. They would have been caught in that,
Nice.
really, wouldn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
What an odd-sized explosion. It's weird, like, you would have thought you would have carried on. Like, when I first started playing the game, I was thinking, like, oh, the beginning of the game is just going to be a series of missions like this, going after each reactor. But the game kind of goes off on a tangent after a while, doesn't it? And then
Yeah.
kind of goes away
Well,
from
it's
that.
completely different. If you've never played it before, you really don't expect the next plot point. I'm conveying emotion. Ah.
Yeah. Off to the train. There's quite a few like train sequences in this as well, isn't there?
Yeah, actually.
Some trains.
Yeah.
So you now take control of the main character again, and a few more battles will happen around here. Again, we've cut all these out, so. And you wouldn't have a chance to play around with your items and equipment in it. And this is your first encounter with the Flower Girl. And your conversation in the game will affect what happens later on with the different characters. They will remember what you say to them, and how you treat them will affect how they treat you later on in the game.
It's like the original Mass Effect.
So you can say to her, you better get out of here, and she just leaves. Or you say, hey, nothing, listen, and then you can talk to her for a bit longer. You can say, never mind, and you dismiss her straight away, or you can ask her about her flowers. I think that is the cheapest item in the game. 1 gil. Yes, absolutely buy one. Okay, and you buy a flower from her.
Come back.
Later.
Where'd she go?
The train station in Midgard. There's a couple of items around here you can pick up on your way through. There you go, there's a shiny.
It's like a potion.
Think so? It is a potion.
Yeah.
Some avalanche graffiti. Not much else to do around here, it's just to walk through. And then this is where it all kicks off, in the street. If you have the option of fighting them or running away, it's quite easy to fight them, so I would recommend killing them all, because it gives you a little bit more experience. Yeah. I think at this point in the game, so early on, any fight's going to be worthwhile experience. Like later on, you need to fight bigger monsters to get any decent experience, but at this point, any fight's going to be worth it, so you might as well fight them all.
And win against everyone.
Cutscene.
You can also just fight them.
I think at that point, though, in the game, you would struggle with that many soldiers at once on your own.
Maybe.
If you remember how much health you had and stuff. at
Oh
that point.
yeah, it's like 100 health.
Yeah.
Damn.
And you'd be taking off like 26, things like that.
If they did a with the HD remake, if they actually had voice actors to do these characters, what celebrities would you have playing?
Don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I think there is. Was it in one of the Kingdom Hearts Zack talks?
Oh, really?
Cloud, yeah. And there's Squirrels in it from Final Fantasy VIII. He's played by. I can't remember how he does his voice. It's David Boreanaz, I think, does his voice.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who would be involved in that sort of thing. Maybe Samuel Jackson for Barrett. He did do Officer Tenpenny in GTA 5. Oh,
Sure.
GTA San Andreas, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yeah.
So he's a known game actor as well. So, maybe Mark Hamill for Cloud. Be surprised actually if you look at Mark Hamill on IMDb. He's done a lot of voiceovers in
he's done
games.
so much.
Yeah, he's like did the voice of Wolverine in the Wolverine games and stuff, and he was like the Joker in the Batman cartoon, and yeah, loads of voiceovers in games. And
even in the new Batman's like Arkham City and stuff, he was the Joker.
He was the Joker in that, yeah. He was a good Joker. So yeah, I reckon Mark Hamill, Samuel Jackson. The thing is, you don't really get like a lot of really famous actors doing voiceovers a lot of the time. Obviously, there's the Samuel Jackson example from GTA San Andreas.
Yeah. Well, not in games, at least.
Yeah,
in films,
games you don't. Yeah,
like
you don't.
Pixar films.
You don't. Games that have been made based on films. But I think like as games are getting more and more realistic graphically, you do actually get some people have their likeness in a game.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
It's like Nathan Fillion was in ODST, wasn't he?
Halo 3
ODST.
Damn, yeah. He was also in Reach.
Or you could use his voice in Reach, couldn't you? As one of the voiceovers you could have.
No, his character was actually in Reach as well.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. One of the on New Alexandria, one of the rooftops you go to, it was a random chance that you'd be helping him get away.
Oh, right.
You see him run to the Pelican and fly away.
Good stuff. So obviously everyone finds us a bit threatening. They're leaving the train carriage.
Yeah, they don't think the guy with a gun for an arm is just like cosplaying.
news travels fast, you'll know that we blew up the reactor.
Oh damn. Well, I think everyone could see it.
That's true. That's very true. No, it's already in the Shinra Times. They've already released, since it blowing up, they've already released a paper with it on. So that is how
Is
quick
it not
the
digital?
news travels. It may be. He said, well, just said, did you read the Shinra Times? It might be
True.
online, it might be, they might have tweeted it.
So what's Wedge doing?
I don't know. It looks
pressing a
like,
button,
yeah,
then?
it looks like he's pressing the same button over and over again.
Playing a furious game of Pac-Man.
You do have the option of actually being quite cold towards people at the beginning of the game. When you talk to different people, you can just like tell people to shut up, leave me alone, don't care. Responses. I think throughout the game, regardless, you're going to start warming to people.
Yeah.
But because I think obviously the different characters go through it all together. But at the beginning, you do have the chance to like just be a dick to the rest of Avalanche if you want. I tend to be a bit nicer. I think I generally always go for the good guys in games.
Yeah, my first playthrough anyway. I'll at least be a good guy. Especially in a Mass
I find
Effect.
that even in games where you have the option to be like good or evil, the game still really is catered to being good all the time.
Really?
It was like in Fallout, you can be good or bad,
Yeah.
and like you'll go around like just like breaking stuff and stealing things, and then you'll find some kid saying, "Please help me, I've lost my dad." It's like, "Oh, that'll give me experience. I'll do that mission." Like you go around like being evil, but then you'll still help the kid find his dad and things like that.
Yeah, then can't you kill the dad? Instead of
Don't know. But you know what I mean? A lot of the missions are geared
Yeah.
towards you being the hero sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you can be bad in between doing the missions and being the good guy.
Although there's the whole morality thing in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Like, you still go along through the story, but like endings will change and stuff like that depending on how good or evil you are.
I mean, the options in this game, this is one of the very first like early games that started doing things like that, and it was quite impressive at the time that you would say different things. All it would really affect is some of the conversations you have later on. Will reflect, or like who you have in your party will reflect who's there to converse with at different stages in the game. And you just get unlock different dialogue paths really. There's no like alternate endings or anything. But there are some interesting sequences that, depending on who you've spoken to and what you've said, different things end up happening.
So the train just went through like a
Yes.
scan, I guess.
Security ID check. You never really spend much time at the top plate either, do you? They talk about like the top plate above the slums. You're in like a couple of sectors in the slums, and then like the top plate is literally when you go to the Shinra Mansion, isn't it? Or the Shinra Tower. You don't really go around the outside area much at all. It's a pretty big city, and you don't really cover a lot of it. Get the impression there's a lot more of Junion as well when you go there, because that's like a similar sized city, isn't it?
Well, not compared to Midgar. but-
No.
Yeah, why doesn't everyone move onto the plate?
Don't know, probably because they haven't got the money to.
Oh.
Dying, telling it how it is. It's a recurring sentiment, isn't it, about the train being on the tracks. You have to go where that train's taking you. It's just a shot there of the train going around the outside of the central pillar. Death station.
Oh, you see this multiple times in the game, or at least this scene.
Well, this particular station does have like a few scenes that take place there, don't they?
Yeah.
It's kind of a key location for certain plot points.
Oh, is that what's his face?
They all like jump down the stairs.
Yeah, true.
So who's
The guy who's always got red hair that you meet. throughout the game.
No, I don't think that's him there. I
Oh.
think that he is in the town a bit though when you walk through. Is it Johnny, isn't it?
Yeah, Johnny.
He always ends up at different locations around the world. Keep bumping into him. Okay, we got an hideout again.
Yeah, they wouldn't run forward.
This thing's split up and meet back there. It's like, well, how do you split? There's one path between here and there.
Yeah, it's like saying goodbye to someone, but you're still going the same way. I'll see you later, and you're like walking next to them for like 5 minutes.
Oh, this is kind of awkward now. This is the tower that actually holds up the plate.
Oh.
Doesn't seem very structurally sound though, does it, if you think about it? There should be a pillar the other side as well. There's like one pillar holds up.
Yeah.
It's just going to fall. It's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess that middle one's holding up the two, or that one giant block.
Yeah. I don't know how it really works.
So yeah, the shiny one. That's the...
I do think this game's got a good mixture of like the technology and the magic and stuff. It's like the settings in this, all like Shinra, it's all like machines and robots and guards, and then you can use magic to fight them.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
especially later on during the game, you find out more about Mako and that side of the planet.
How it all works and everything.
Yeah, all the material kind of makes sense.
There's Johnny. Look.
Ah, yeah.
Johnny!
It's like walking really weirdly.
Keep an eye out for Johnny on our videos. You'll see him pop up a few times.
It'll be a prize for the number of times you can see Johnny. So Johnny's jungle cocktail
Yeah.
just dancing.
Off you go in.
Awesome.
This is Marlene Dine's daughter, and one of Zach's old friends. Yeah, or not this time. Again, this is one of those decisions where I think it just affects what her opinion of you is. That's fine, what are you fighting? And she's named Aries in this playthrough. And do you know she bought flowers from the flower girl in the slums? So obviously earlier on in the game, if you hadn't bought the flowers, you wouldn't have this conversation. And they have the option to give the flowers to Aries or give them to Marlene. The decision is yours. We obviously discussed this decision for a while.
Yeah, we did.
All the ramifications. We gave the flower to her. Thank you, Zach. It's from
So we could give them to Marlene, although with it we could bone Aries.
So you can see as it builds, there is a bit of a love triangle in the game, and you can either pursue Tifa or Aries. And in this playthrough, we've reversed the names just to make things extra confusing for you.
So we'll refer to people as who we've named them as,
Yes,
rather
I
than
think
what
that'd
the
be-
game originally does.
Yeah. Just bear that in mind as we play through. Whenever we're talking about Aries and Tifa. And again here, he's just like, "Oh, why don't you join me?" You say, "Why not?" You say, "No." "Oh, do you want to hear a story?" "No." So it does obviously make the team either like or dislike you a bit more or less. Because it doesn't make a huge impact in the rest of the game, I don't think. Not as much as games do now. They obviously take, a much more. You'll have like a morality bar that actually tells you if you're, neutral, good or evil.
Yeah.
And this was literally just like a few different conversation paths that you can take. So
Well,
very
it's-
basic, but it's
it's
good
good.
they've done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes the game feel a bit more interactive as well. you know.
Yeah, especially if you're doing multiple playthroughs, or like your second go round, you'll be a jerk to everyone the first time. You'll talk to and see how many conversations you can have. Sit down. Oh, okay. Something to drink?
I think you very rarely eat and drink in this game.
Yeah.
Or ever go to the loo or anything. Unless, like, during the sleep sequences, they go to the loo before they get up and leave.
True.
So. Well, I say that, like, you point out in games like, oh, they don't eat and they don't go to the toilet. If you had a game where you had like a toilet meter, if it ever got too high, you'd have to go and find a toilet.
Like The Sims.
Yeah, that would just be, everyone would hate that. Be like, this is ridiculous. I want to go off shooting people. I don't care about going to the loo.
Yeah, like in Gears. You had to try and like get all the goddamn armor off. You're like, oh, son of a bitch.
So we complain about stuff like that not being in games, but yeah, if they actually were, it would be ridiculous. So. I did play another RPG once where you would get recipes for meals and stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah, and but you would sit down when you would stop and have a camp, and then you would be then, or you could talk to the different characters. They would discuss the current objective and stuff, and then you could cook dinner. And like the different dinners would have different effects. You could like make spicy food that then like increased your speed stats the next day.
Yeah.
Or you could make like healthy food that then increased your health the next day, things like that. And you would throughout the game get different ingredients and different recipes. And then you would sleep after that. So you'd have the option to either cook, discuss things, or sleep. And then that would progress the game. So that involved people eating, but they actually made it affect your characters and stuff. And to be all completely honest, it's kind of boring doing that. It's kind of like, oh look, I found some radishes and some potatoes. I'm going to make radish and potato soup.
Well,
no effect.
Like a lot of RPGs that are food things, like say in Warcraft, you've got like a whole profession. It's just cooking. I want my money.
Fighting words. Doesn't care about the planet.
So he doesn't care about anyone at this point.
He's just a cold, harsh individual.
Jesse's crying. Now I found my money.
I can't remember how much we should get. Like now we've played through the game, you know, like how much gil is really worth and how much gil you come across and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think you really get given much for doing a mission to blow up a reactor.
I can't remember if you even get money.
Yeah, this is kind of like the start to your funds, really, because I think the beginning of the game didn't really have much money.
No.
And then you get like a bulk sum at the beginning that you can then spend on items and stuff. Yeah, you can say, yeah, sorry, I'm going to leave. And obviously that'll upset her. But if you want to be nice to her, you can say, how can you say that? The promise. There's lots of stuff about this promise they made, isn't there? It keeps coming up throughout the game.
We getting a flashback?
Flashback. One of the other locations in the game. That well there is just representing the memory they're discussing. They're not actually there at this stage.
I was going to say, it's like... Do you remember this well? What?
There's Zach 7 years ago. So Zach's still quite young, really, isn't he?
Yeah, mini Zach.
All the characters are still quite young. Don't know how old he's meant to be there, but that was only like 7 years ago. I think it even says in the book comes with the game like how old all the characters are and stuff.
Yeah, it does actually. I remember that. Is it Red 13 that has like question mark for his age?
Possibly. Let's have a quick look.
Oh. Some facts come out on you.
In fact, so Zack is 21.
Oh.
Old, and Tifa is 22, and Ares is 20, and then Dine is 35, and Naki is 45.
Oh, that's
but,
actually...
yeah, he's a lot older, but he's still for his species. He's like a teenager. They point out, and then Cloud is 32.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he'd be. I thought he'd be a hell of a lot
32.
older than.
No, he's only 32.
Dine.
Yeah. And then Jessie is 16. Reeve is unknown. And then Sid is 27. Sid's quite young as well, isn't he? 27? A bit weird. They're all quite young. So.
Well, you probably don't know who Sid is yet.
Yes, because we've gone through all of the naming conventions, changing them.
Vincent was Sid for later on in the game. But
Cloud is Zack. Ares is Tifa. Tifa is Ares. Barrett is Dine, Red 13 is Nanaki, Sid is Cloud. We thought we'd have somebody called Cloud in the game. Yuffie is Jessie, Kate Sith is Reeve, and then Vincent is Sid, because there needs to be a guy called Sid. So we just had a little bit of fun there, playing around.
I still get confused with the girls' names. I'm just like...
Well, the problem was, while we were playing, I kept on referring to them as their original names and confusing the hell out of you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let's equip this weapon to Tifa. Oh, okay.
Then I do it.
No, that's Ares. I mean Ares. I mean
No.
Tifa. I mean Tifa. I mean Ares. Oh, good lord. So, I can remember a friend of mine said that he once renamed people him, us, and that guy. So it's like, oh, give the fire magic to that guy, and then if we have that summon, and then give the cure magic to us.
Damn. You remember now, don't you? I promise. Well, no, we're looking at everyone's age.
You get the initial impression that these two sort of grew up together and were childhood friends. And she's the one that got him this mission with Avalanche, which kicks off the game. Why didn't he just use the lift?
I don't need no pinball machine.
Oh, how much do we get? 1,500 gil.
It's alright.
Not really get a lot with that.
No. It's no 200,000, but...
No. I suppose it's all right actually. Yeah, 3,000 would be a bit better. Because you could easily spend 3,000 like a weapon, or some armor or something. I don't think he ever actually pays you for the second mission, does he? I don't think you ever see that money. And the first sleeping sequence is over. So that was kind of the intro to the game, the reactor mission, and then like the aftermath at the hideout. This now is where the game slows down the pace a bit, and you get a chance to figure out how to play, basically, and go through all the tutorials.
Wait, so Marlene's behind the bar.
Don't
worry, I'll mix your drinks.
There's some brilliant examples of bad parenting in this game. Leaving... How old is she meant to be? She's left to run the bar on her own. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the adults like stood there drinking and talking. Vodka and Coke, okay, mister. Just like orange juice, just like gin, everything.
Right, so in this bit you can... Dine's basically saying he doesn't know how to use a materia, so Zack's going to explain it to him, but that in turn explains it to you as the player, so always say, okay, I'll explain it. I know somebody who once put, you wouldn't understand, because he didn't know how to use it, and he thought that because he was controlling Zack, he would have to say how to do it. So, he said, oh, you wouldn't understand. So he's like, well, I can't explain it, I have no idea. And then he didn't ever do the materia tutorial, and basically had to get through I think he got as far as Cosmo Canyon before he found out that you could equip materia to people.
Oh, damn. That's pretty impressive.
Well, if you think about it, you can do playthroughs where you just don't use materia. You just have to rely a lot more heavily on items, because you can get curative items and you can get magic items and stuff. And obviously you'd have really high health and attack, because obviously the more magic materia you put on, the lower your different stats get affected, don't they?
True.
So if you had no materia, you'd be quite strong. And each character has a weapon that has no equipment slots, but has really high damage. I think.
Don't you get them later on in the game? Though?
Yeah, but there was someone you would be able to get weapons like that. Like Zack has the nail bat, which is like a baseball with a nail sticking out.
Oh, true.
And Dine, I think, has a boxing glove. They've got no materia slots, but their damage is actually quite high. So that's something you could try. Try and play through the game without using materia. Give you an additional challenge.
Annoying there are no achievements in this. Well,
it's PlayStation 1, so
true. I say this.
years ago.
There's the version on Steam for the half remake of Final Fantasy VII. Graphics are slightly better, but not much. But there's achievements in that. It says Steam achievements. So.
Yes, this is where you can learn a whole bunch of stuff.
What the?
Get some materia as well. I mean, even if you know you played before, it's always worth going in here just to get some materia.
All materia is really good.
So you get like summon, magic, command, then you get support, and what's the purple one called? It's just kind of like automatic stuff, isn't it?
I thought that was support.
And no, support's like the blue one, so you kind of have like blue and yellow together, like all and cure, with the combinations, wouldn't it? To do cure on everyone. I can't remember what the purple one's called. But it's kind of like the automatic stuff, isn't it? Like cover and counter attack and long range.
Yeah.
Things you do automatically without actually having a command for it.
You had to reset the game, all shoulder buttons and start and select. It was like that for a few PlayStation games, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think in Ape Escape, that was the same.
Oh, I loved Ape Escape. That was a genius game. I don't think we really needed the finger that much, did we, when we played through? I think we tried to keep it off just so it looked a bit nicer for our playback.
Yeah.
That's how you can get around.
Oh yeah, really useful for perspective. If you're like,
Where's the actual exits?
Yeah. I found I had to use that quite a few times.
Right, so here you can basically, the way the game's worked out is because Zack's meant to be a really experienced soldier. It's more he's telling them how to do stuff. So he's like, oh, well, I'll explain this for you. So you get a whole list of things you can talk about, and you can just go through them all and talk about them. And this tells you how to use a save point. You get items called tents, which allows you to sleep, and you get all your magic and health back. So later on you'll go to the world map, which is a place where you can save and change your party, like as if you were at a save point. The perspective's weird on the world map as well, isn't it? I think it's all like all Final Fantasy games. It's meant to be like the distance you travel is actually much further. So like going between like Midgard to Calm might be like a long journey. Might take you like
continent.
Yeah.
True.
So like if you're going then from like say Calm to the Chocobo Farm, that could take you like a day to get there or something.
Yeah, I've not thought about it, like the whole world map, just wrapped around the world. There's quite a few things where you actually see the planet in game, you're like, what? So yeah, I guess looking at it that way, it's a bit...
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves, but yeah, we're still in the beginner's hall.
Yeah. But I'll rap with you for a while.
We kind of clip that out, but you can go through a list of all the different options of how to do different things in battles. It's like what items do, what different statuses are, that sort of thing. Once you're happy with all that information, you can then go off and do a bit of shopping.
Yay.
I don't think we've really bothered going in the shops box. I don't think there's any material or anything you can buy in these shops at this point that you don't get for free anyway.
Okay.
And as you can see, everyone's saying goodbye to Johnny. Because Johnny's about to go off travelling the world. Off he goes. We may bump into him again.
We will.
Okay, back to the station. It's another train mission. I think the pace of this game is broken up quite nicely. You have like the intense sort of reactor mission where you're getting in fights and you're running around and you're having to get out while the bomb goes off, and then it's like the sequence on the train, then it all calms down for the training mission. Stuff begins to, and now you're back on a train again on another mission, and things are going to start kicking off again. So it likes to sort of pick up the pace and slow it down again. You'll get a sequence like walking around just chatting to people and finding out bits of the story, or you'll have big sequences where you're just in a hostile area with people to fight. So that's very bold.
Oh, damn. You're welcome for Shinra. Have his gun out.
Well, he hasn't really done anything wrong. He just works for Shinra. He's not like he's like the head of Shinra deciding, hey, let's make what's profitable today, sucking the life out of the planet. He might just work in the
Like the
office
coffee
somewhere.
guy.
Yeah. Maybe he's just a gopher who goes gets coffee for people, or maybe he works in accounting. What's the plan? Good input, Ares.
Ares, you working for Shinra?
So they're upping the security thing because of what happened at the bombing the day before. So the ID checkpoints are more
Regular?
sort of more regular. I don't know, or they sort of up the security in some way. But I don't know how the IDs work because it just like there's a light that flashes and somehow it scans their IDs.
Yeah. So do they have an ID on them, or does it scan their like vital signs?
I don't know. I think they must have like IDs on them, and it just registers that you've got it on you, or something like a wireless signal. I don't know. Interesting technology. Oh, there it is. Type A security alert. Uh-oh. This is quite a good bit. There's a few little points you can pick up along here. I'll point them out as we go through. Because you see you get very, very short times to go through each gate. So most of these you can just run through. You do get just about enough time to do all these little extra bits. So they're locking down each door as it goes. Now you see the guy on the left of the screen. You can talk to him. You only got like 10 seconds. So, huh? The hell? Do you want this? Yeah. Oh, I won't even charge you. And he gives you a high potion, and you can run out.
Oh, awesome.
So you only get a few seconds to do it, but he just talks to me, gives you a high potion. There's another bit here. Is that Johnny on the train?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Johnny's on the train. He was just a passenger. Why did he?
Yeah,
It wasn't like he was a guard or anything.
No, he
What's
wasn't.
this guy? He steals some money off you. You run after him and talk to him. There's nowhere to run. And he's like... Yeah. And he gives it back to you. And you're off, yeah. again, you have just about enough time to do that.
Sneaky bastard.
If he, otherwise, you will lose a bit of money. I don't know how much actually. And there's some naked guards. They don't give you anything. And you can see two guys at the front are actually Biggs and Jesse in disguise.
Ah. Oh damn.
No time for be chatting away, you gotta jump off a moving train. What else are we gonna do? Oh, I've made it on my mind. I am gonna go through it now. See, by this point, areas would be much further down the track.
Yeah.
If you were still going,
Oh damn.
they'd all be split up. So then Zach jumps off. By the time Dine jumps up, it's like
They're gonna be taking a while to actually catch up to each other. Yeah, true.
oh, there you go.
Oh, what? Oh, so many months later when they found each other.
Okay, they go off down this tunnel.
One thing I found in this game is that all lights and stuff, I kept thinking they were materia to pick up. Like that blue one on the floor.
Yeah.
I thought that was I originally thought it was materia shiny.
No, they think the material like glistens a bit more, doesn't it? Kind of has like a glow to it.
Yeah.
Shiny. Can't go through there. It's a bit of a weird bit. It asks if you're sure you want to go down through the hole. But you don't have any other choice. That's the only way to get to the next point.
Yeah.
So you say don't go down, you just stand around there and you can just wander around a bit more. And you can check to go down so it looks okay, and then you can go down. It's like, why not just go straight down? I don't know why it's giving you the option to think about it.
Well, you could have gone there straight away like we did, and then gone, no, I'm going to want to check around some more, like check back along
Yeah,
the roads
there's
in case you
nothing
want, like,
particularly
to
back
explore.
there. Obviously I know that from playing before. So this is another reactor, but we're coming at it from another angle. So it's a slightly different way in than we went last time on the number 1 reactor.
Oh, this looks like hell.
Well, this is a good point, because at this point in the game you've got 3 people in your party and you've got a bit of materia at this stage, so you can sort of get a bit of practice of the battles and level up a bit, get to see a few limit breaks and stuff. So this is probably like the first like big sequence of the game, isn't it, where you get lots of fights.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to go and all sorts.
You can see there's a couple of ladders up that lead into different areas, and I think they all like link together. There's Jesse. And a shiny.
Oh yeah.
Oh. So I thought about the ID cards.
Damn you, Jesse.
There's a nice little potion.
I think early on in the game I don't remember using many items at all because we had the restore materia.
Yeah, I mean you get restored and you get life as well, don't you? So you do get way more items than you need. Shiny. Tent.
Did we ever use a tent?
Yeah, I think so. In certain places. Yeah, handy. I tend to like, because the tents I think cost a bit more, and they're really useful because obviously they fully restore your party. I tended to save the tents, but then I'd always end the game with like 10 leftover tents I'd never used. You need to learn to be a bit more, use my items a bit more freely, not hoard as much. Now you might recognise this screen from the previous reactor. It's the same sort of setup. Obviously, like I said, we come through from the other side, but from here it'll look pretty much the same.
I think that was busted. That's a good point actually. Did it say 24G on the last reactor?
Don't know.
On the wall? Yeah, I didn't notice that before. The save points throughout the game, do you reckon they're just there for us as the player, or do you reckon like a guard had to go and move that and put it in place?
I don't know, they're really meant to be. They look a bit weird, don't they? They look a bit like question marks or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're meant to be. But they're not really linked to any other point in the game, are they?
No, they're not.
I think in 10 you get all the save points, but then the save points then actually the teleport points when you can later on travel around.
Oh, okay.
And you can travel by save points. It's basically good. Oh, here's a flashback into Zack's dark past. There's Ares and talking about Sephiroth. That explains why Ares is involved in Avalanche. She hates the Shinra. And Zack was there that day. Seems to have some sort of trigger memory being in a reactor.
Yeah.
Bringing up some sort of memory he's got. Makes him wig out.
Perhaps it's close to the concentrated than you can.
That's true.
Yeah, they're not like, are you okay? Should we take you to a hospital or something?
Like, pull yourself together, man. Plant that bomb.
Yeah. You're in a perfect condition to plant this bomb. We'll watch you do it.
I just looked at the back of the book. And it's an advert for a PlayStation memory card. And the bottom tab says, try beating Final Fantasy VII without it. Is that actually a challenge, or is that just something like, you're not going to be able to do it without this? You have to buy one. You could see that as a challenge, trying to beat Final Fantasy VII without a memory card. It could be doable. You'd have to leave the computer on all the time. At certain points when you wanted to sleep, you'd have to just pause it and leave it on. But if you ever wiped out your party, that would be it. That would be over.
Oh, damn.
So you probably wouldn't be willing to take on the weapons or anything.
No, you'd only do the main story missions, I think. Probably be using a hell of a lot more items as well.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to do this game in one sitting. Not possible.
No, definitely not.
So we did do a lot of the extra stuff on our playthrough, and we did a few of the bonus missions.
Yeah, we stopped the story to do chocobos and stuff like that.
So if you didn't bother with that, and you didn't bother with the bonus characters, then you just play through straight to the end. As you can see, some slight differences in the layout of the reactor, but a lot of it's pretty much the same.
Ooh, my first yellow box as well.
I don't know, we've had the yellow box in the previous reactor as well. This bit's a bit weird, you have to press the button at the same time. It's a bit, I don't know why you have to do this, it's like, what?
No good. Press the button with both arms. Just have a Hoover at the ready and turn it on when they go into Zack.
That reminds me of, do you ever play the game Dynamite Heady?
No, I opened that game.
You know, it's a guy. You have like a head that you'd like throw your head at people. Like your head wasn't connected to your body.
What?
Like, your head was your weapon. You just basically headbutt people. And one of the weapons was vacuum cleaner head. And when you turned it on, like everything in the screen just got sucked in. You ate everything. Quite similar to Kirby type game.
Okay. What was it on?
Mega Drive, I think. Mega Drive game. That's a trap. Ooh.
Slow trap.
I do like this music as well, the Shinra music. The Shinra theme. President Shinra. Long time no see, Mr. President. So the president knows who we are.
God A. God B.
More talk of this Sephiroth person. He features as flashback. Yeah, you tell him, Dine. I wonder who his dinner's with. We'll never find out. Perhaps he's got dinner with Scarlet or something. Now this is quite an interesting boss fight because the party ends up on opposite sides of the boss. I think that's the only boss fight that does that. So you've got Dine and Tifa, Dine and Ares on one side and Zack on the other.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's the only boss fight where that happens. If you think about it, this Techno Shoulder is a bit rubbish. Like HP wise and stuff. Because obviously we're fighting it now, it's near the beginning of the game, and it's like a challenge. But if we were to face the Scorpion Guard or this guy on Disc 3, we just one-shot them. So I think they should have brought them back for that. But later on in the game, like that would be like a normal encounter, like a whole bunch of the Robo Guards, and when you go back to fight Shinra.
Yeah.
But you would just be able to like kill them really easily because of your attack speed so high. Ooh.
Whoa! What the? Yeah, instead of fighting one, you'd fight like 7 or so.
I don't think you'd have that many fights at the same time, but indeed. Oh, looking very tense now. So you either be strong or go, I don't know if I can hold on. So we decided to be strong. So what about yourselves? Okay. Oh damn.
No!
And this is where the story takes a turn.
Oh damn. Yeah, but the reactor was blown up. And Ares and Dine were still on.
No, they were on the bridge. They were about the same distance we were at the last reactor when it blew up.
Ah, true.
So they got to the bridge, didn't they? And they were running off the edge. It's a bit of a weird conversation. Not a lot of it is making much of the sense. He's obviously slightly unconscious.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a nasty fool. So it's kind of like, I don't know whether he's having that conversation in his head and then like the actual speech boxes are
Someone
else talking to him.
Yeah.
So obviously he's a bit messed in the head, isn't he? Doesn't really know what's going on. And it's the flower girl he met in the slums.
that church roof broke my 1,000-foot fall.
Yeah, he's pretty tough to survive such a long drop. So this is Sector 5. Yeah, 'cause isn't Sector 6 just like rubble? And then Sector 7 is where you actually have the hideout and stuff.
Yeah. The roof and the flowers must have broken your fall.
Somehow, apparently.
Yeah.
If you'd crash landed in like a pillow factory, that might have made a bit more sense. But
Yeah, true.
yeah,
That'd have been...
breaking through a roof and then landing in the flower bed isn't exactly going to.
Yeah. She's like, oh, you're wearing the same as you did last time. So are you.
None of the characters change. Actually, speaking of that, there is a few bits in Final Fantasy VIII where you change.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you actually go and change your clothes. Because you haven't played 8 at all, have you?
I haven't, no.
In 8, you're like a student in a school.
Oh, okay.
There's a school called the Garden, and all the soldiers of the Garden are called Seed, and basically you're a trainee for Seed. And like the beginning of the game is you doing like your exam and stuff to become part of this army. And when you go to like your graduation ceremony and stuff, you have to put on like your military outfit. Then the rest of the time you wear like your casual clothes. I think there's a couple of other bits we change as well. Storyline's not bad actually in 8. I didn't really find the main character that likeable though. There were some really good elements to it. Like in the battles, you had the gunblade as the main weapon, and you would be able, if you hit one of the triggers on the control pad as you hit the enemy, it would do extra damage because essentially he'd be firing the gun as he cut through them.
Oh, awesome.
So that was really good, and you could boost your summons as well. There's like a boost button, and you'd have to like button bash square to build up a boost. But then there'd be certain bits of the summon where it would like X out and say don't press it, and if you accidentally pressed it, put your boost back to 0. So you have to like button bash up to a certain point, then leave it, and then button bash again up to a certain point, and then leave it, and then it would hopefully, if you pressed enough, do extra damage.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool. You could say, oh, you were the slum drunk. But no, we won't do that. I think we've basically gone for the approach of being nice to both Ares and Tifa.
Yeah.
Because you can sort of be nice to one, be nice to another, or you could be nasty to both of them, or nice to both of them. It's completely up to you.
Yay, why are you interested in my materia?
You can find materia anywhere. What materia should she be talking about? I wonder if that'll come into play later on in the game.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, it's been ages since we've actually played this, so I've forgotten what she has now as well.
It's the white materia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about. So at this point in the game, she's like, oh, I have some materia, but I don't know how to use it, doesn't do anything. And you don't really think anything of it, but then obviously later in the game, she does have some very specific materia that she uses as part of the story. It's not one you actually get to use in battles or anything, so it's just part of the story.
Flower girl.
I'm Tifa, the flower girl.
Where
Where's that?
Charlie?
Oh, who's that? Coming in. Don't let it get to you. I don't know what. He just stood there. He might just be walking into the church. He's not doing anything
Yeah.
wrong.
It's like, hello, I can't hear you, you know. Stop talking about me.
Have you ever been a bodyguard?
Huh. Oh, damn.
Well, you've obviously not going to do it for free, is he? He doesn't actually give a positive answer there, he just doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
You don't know me. I know you. Up there. He did know him, but then he has a white flash in his brain and then he does know him.
Yeah.
Get the impression from the early going of this game that there's something not quite right with Zack.
Yeah, when I first played this, I just kind of ignored all the wigging out bits and like, yeah, I must have like some kind of brain disease. It's fine. Didn't realise. Yeah, there's something else.
Now this is quite an interesting bit. There's a good little sequence coming up with like a bit of a mini game.
Girl's just all there laughing.
They were mega wise. I really didn't like how Reno was portrayed in the film, the Evan Children film. I always found Reno to be quite a cool character.
He's portrayed like a jokey kind of.
Yeah, he's more of a doofus, isn't he? Like, and then he seems like quite clumsy and quite easily beaten by people.
Yeah.
Whereas like in this, he's actually like, you know, constantly fighting with the team. Right, so we'll see here there's all these barrels along the top, and if you push the right barrels at the right times, you'll be able to avoid getting Tifa into fights. And at this point that's probably a good thing, because she's not going to be that powerful on her own. So you don't really want her to get in like one-on-one fights. And it's fun to do it properly anyway. I think it'll probably also affect her feelings towards you if you do it properly.
Oh, okay. That's quite cool.
Because like if you push the wrong one over, she's like, what the hell are you doing? And then gets in a fight. Right. Still don't get this, she's like, oh, I can't jump over that. But she has to jump over it again in a minute anyway. Uh-oh. Right, so now the guard's attacking her. She's asked for help. He looks above. Ah, what's this up there? Tell her to hold on. And then run up to the top. And then which one is it? Should be the back one here. It's the one that's in the back left. You push it over.
I can just push it over.
Oh, that's got to hurt. And then directly on top of him. Okay, so she's like, thanks, that helped.
Quite a good shot as well.
Now, I think the next one is the front left. Yeah, so she'll scream, you run down the steps, you ask for help. Hold on. And push this one over. Now land there, roll down the stairs, and knock them over. Problem is, if you get one of them wrong, it means you're probably going to get two of them wrong.
Yeah.
Because when you actually were supposed to use the one that you did by mistake, you won't be able to.
Yeah, true.
And this is where like the perspective comes into play a bit as well, because you have to like think, oh, where's that in relation to what's happening underneath me? Okay. So hold on. Push over this barrel. And it rolls down there and hits him.
I don't think you can push the barrels before Ares has. Like,
no, it gives that option, doesn't it? Saying, what do you want to do? Push the barrel, wait, and things.
Yeah.
So now it comes to this bit, and she jumps over with no problem. Why didn't you just do that in the first place? Just put yourself in unnecessary danger there, Tifa. Okay, escape the church.
Oh, suddenly we're really big for the church.
The perspective in this, like in the scaling and stuff, is really weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like bungalow sized. And in the cutscenes, it's just like huge.
Okay, gotta get out of there. So at this point in the game, the party's now going to be Zack and Tifa, and obviously Ares and Dyne are elsewhere.
Zack, wait, we've not done that Hoover thing where I go into you.
Yeah, why don't they do that? But it makes walking home a lot easier.
Yeah, and getting over that gap and... Just wait here a minute, I'm so out of breath.
Ha ha ha. Generic laughing pose. Well, we're going to come to the end of this first episode of the Final Fantasy playthrough, and we hope that you join us in episode 2.
We'll find out what happens.
Yeah, we'll find out what happens next to Zack and Tifa.
And Dyne and Ares, because
And
they were in an explosion, for all we know.
And then what will happen with the battle for the planet against Shinra. Join us next time to find out more.
Thank you.